Mild developmental regression is completely normal, and it can happen at any age for a vast majority of reasons. More often than not, they arise because your child has encountered stress, and that stress trigger can range anywhere from parent separation to the start of a new school to, quite frankly, the introduction of a new sibling. Now, while those mild regressions are completely normal, they can be really hard to navigate, and that's what I want to discuss with you in today's video. What is the best practice on how to navigate those mild developmental regressions? Welcome back. If this is our first time meeting, my name is Alicia, and here my passion is to provide you with parenting tools, not tips, tricks, or hacks, but parenting tools that have an applied behavior analysis foundation, and I like to think that I make them user-friendly. I am a Board Certified Behavior Analyst, and I really just have a passion for educating caregivers on just, quite frankly, practical tools that you can use on a day-to-day basis. Now, with that said, the odds are is you're a caregiver and you have a short amount of time that you're working with anyways. So I kind of need to drop that knowledge as quickly as possible. I like to make these videos as short and sweet and to the point. So go get yourself a notebook because here we go. Now let's first briefly discuss what exactly are the developmental milestones that our child might be losing ground on that are considered mild regressions. I am talking about that child who is 4 years old and then suddenly reverts back to baby talk or they revert back to other behaviors that you would consider immature for their chronological age, or that child who was previously potty trained suddenly starts having accidents, or the kiddo that was sleeping through the night is now waking up numerous times. Now, those are our mild regressions. If, however, your child experiences some extreme regressions, and extreme regressions refers to maybe that child suddenly loses the ability to talk and walk, those might be a case that your child is experiencing some sort of neurological or developmental problem, and those need to be addressed by a physician. Okay, so now that we know what type of mild regression we're looking at, now we need to figure out how exactly do we address it. First and foremost, it is super important that we identify the stressor. What was the trigger? What happened right before our child started exhibiting these regressive behaviors? And once you're able to directly identify it, at that point, you want to address it with your child. You want to make sure that they feel safe, that they feel loved, that they're not forgotten. You want to look and you want to draw a parallel between, okay, when did you start regressing? Where was the stressor? And now let me talk you through those fears and attempt to alleviate some of that concern for your child. Additionally, we need to focus on regulation skills. We need to figure out ways that are developmentally age appropriate for our children in order to cope with stress, whether that's going to be a physical outlet for them, or it's going to be cuddles, or it's humming. We need to be able to help them cope with that stress in the presence of the trigger. And that leads me to helping our child identify that trigger, helping our child know the cues of when that trigger is present. And maybe, quite frankly, we need to be that cue at first. We need to provide some sort of, okay, hey, you know what? I'm seeing you start doing kind of a jaw clench. I'm seeing you kind of tighten your fist. You know what? You're kind of moving your feet really fast. Something is bothering you. What have we talked about before? What are the things that we can do? Oh, yes, we can engage in a physical activity. Oh yes, we need to go get out those toys. Again, in this moment, don't make it a guessing game, okay? Yes, I did just say, all right, what is it that we can do? But I immediately provided that answer. And that's what you want to do for your child, because at that point, your child's getting to a point where they're becoming deregulated, and they're not going to be able to identify it with you. At that point, you need to identify it for them, and then you're going to gradually fade out your assistance. One thing that we do not want to do during this time of regression is we do not want to punish, we don't want to shame, and we do not want to blame. It sounds counterintuitive, but the more attention that you give a behavior, the more likely it is that it's going to continue. So the less attention that you give it, the less consequences that you place on your child, the odds are is that behavior is slowly going to dissipate on its own, given that you're doing these other proactive strategies. And with that, it wraps it up for me today, guys. So if you found value in today's video, don't forget to hit subscribe and look for me on Instagram at Parent Graph, because I provide daily content on just a multitude of different behavior parenting strategies that you can use. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.